All right, it's Talking Giants brought to you by SeatGeek. And once again, the New York football Giants are embarrassed during a week one game. The Giants lose to the Commanders by a score of 21-6. And like, I feel like we are living in a real Groundhog Day simulation. If I were to go in a coma, which, hey, for a couple different reasons, if I were to go in a coma after that Eagle game last year, after the last game, and I were to wake up today and I were to watch this football game, and even though I'd be really shocked, I'd be like, whoa, look, there's Russell Wilson. Oh, wow, look, they got that guy from Ole Miss, right? Oh, wow, look, there's Abdul Carter. How did you get your franchise? How did you get your future franchise quarterback of Jackson Dart and Abdul Carter in the same draft? If I were to go in a coma after that Eagle game and then wake up and watch this football game, I'd be like, yeah, that's kind of what the experience of watching this team is. I'm dejected, man. And it sucks that every single year, us as a fan base where, we want to get so excited. We want, if we could, we would will this football team to not even win, but just be relevant, because that's what we ask for every single year. We just want them to be relative and competitive. Forget winning, forget making the playoffs, forget all this stuff. But as we've reached the bottom of the barrel, just let's not have the season be over in September and October. And man, does it really feel like the last 3 years? I don't want to sit here and say the season's over, because Jackson Dart's going to eventually come. Brian Dable didn't even, in his post-game presser, I didn't hear it, but based on what the reporters are saying, he didn't close the door as to Jackson Dart coming in next week, but I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't even want that if Andrew Thomas isn't even in the lineup. Embarrassing, disappointed. It's incredible. It's incredible how nothing has seemed to change. Nothing has seemed to change despite the head coach changing, the GM changing, the quarterback changing. It doesn't matter. And it's so damn frustrating. The Giants have scored a total of 12 points over the last 3 week one games, 6 points in each of the last 2. You want to get excited for this football team, and they continually find ways to suck the life out of a fan base that so desperately wants to see decent football. I think that's the ask, is decent football, and they can't even hit that damn mark. And it's so frustrating. Meanwhile, in the back of your head, what you got going on is Justin Fields and the Jets, they compete and they're scoring over 30 points in MetLife Stadium against a good Steelers defense. The Browns, who are a disaster of a football team, lose by 1 point against the Bengals. The Colts and Daniel Jones scored 33 points. It's embarrassing. To walk out of my house, I want to walk out of my house tomorrow, and I want to put a Giants shirt on because they just played football, and to have this embarrassing football team to root for them time and time again, it's incredible, man. It's incredible how it's a real-life Groundhog Day where the defense has its issues, right? The defense has its issues, and it's had its issues the last couple of years. But they play a football game where they keep the Giants in it. You somehow blink and you look, and we're in the middle of the fourth quarter. The Giants are down by 14-6. Like, how are they still in this game? And I can't tell you how many times we've all watched Giants games as the years have gone on, and we've said the same damn thing. Man, they shouldn't be in this game, but they found a way to be in it. So why not try and go and steal it? Despite the defense having its issues, which it does, and we'll talk about it, this offense is so lifeless, and they can't score. They just can't fucking score. So let's break down some of our offseason fears. Of every single fear of what might go wrong offensively went wrong today. Forget about James Hudson for a second. The offensive line, all of them were horrible today. I do think it starts there, more than Russell Wilson, more than the quarterback. I think it starts there with the offensive line. Giants allowed 22 pressures on 45 dropbacks, 49% against the Commanders, Next Gen Stats, and Doug Analytics. Dorrance Armstrong had 9 of those pressures, an edge rusher. I didn't see Von Miller lining up a ton on that left side. Saw Von Miller mostly on the right side. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But James Hudson did suck today. But it was the rest of that line too. John Runyon had a bad game. JMS was getting his ass kicked by Daron Payne a good amount. I think Greg Van Roten, even in the beginning of the game, had a couple bad plays. Now, Russell Wilson, he went 5 for 16 for 51 yards under pressure. That's an 18% success rate. Not good. And it's a 2.48 seconds time to throw, by the way. So it's not like Russ was just holding onto the ball. Russ under pressure, we knew would be an issue. So that's something that we knew, right? He was 32nd out of 35 quarterbacks in EPA per dropback last year when pressured. So we knew that if Russell Wilson's going to be a quarterback that's going to get pressured, that he's not going to be very good. And we also knew that Russell Wilson wasn't going to operate a quick game very well. And outside of screens, there was no semblance of a pass game on early downs. Where Russell Wilson's quick game is his long game. That's something like these are all things that we knew. All things that we knew. We knew that the offensive line could be compromised, especially with that Andrew Thomas. Truth. Like, oh, that comes to fruition right away. Of course, because naturally it does. What else? We knew that Russell Wilson wasn't going to be able to operate a quick game all that well. All right, well, there was just no semblance of a quick game at all, especially on early downs. And the one thing that we thought that Russell Wilson might do well is throw the deep ball, right? Throw the moon ball. Throw the ball down the field. And Russell Wilson's quick game is the long game, where you don't necessarily need, like the offensive line, I know there will be a talking point of the offensive line didn't allow Russell Wilson time to succeed, which I think partially that is true, but also Russell Wilson doesn't need more than 2.5 seconds to ideally have an explosive passing game. Russell Wilson is one of the best in the NFL at yards per attempt and average depth of target when getting rid of the ball in less than 2.5 seconds. These are things that we all knew. And of course, the moon ball and Russell Wilson throwing that well, that's the one thing that didn't happen that was unexpected today. So of course, naturally, Russell Wilson throwing a deep ball down to Malik Neighbors down the field. It wasn't really accurate there. Malik Neighbors looked like he put himself in good position a couple times to get some deep balls. A couple of them were behind. They weren't on the same page. Some of the deep balls didn't really work out. And by the time that they started to consistently do that, the game was basically over and they were doing it in the second half. There was really no semblance of trying to do that in the first half, especially as there's no run game and your offensive line is getting their ass kicked. So there was no semblance or a thought of, hey, let's try and snap and release the ball down the field and down towards the sideline. They did try and run a slot fade early in the game, which I respect. I did like, hey, from a strategy standpoint, from a game plan standpoint, I liked putting Malik Neighbors in the slot. Russell Wilson throws the ball to his slot targets well historically. Malik Neighbors putting him in motion historically worked out well last year, so they tried to do some of those things. Now, do I wish Russell Wilson could navigate the pocket better, especially when we're talking about him against pressure? Yes. Do I wish he didn't run into pressure at times? Yes. Is that pressure solely on Russell Wilson, though? No. I also think the offensive line sucked, and I think most notably the interior, and especially James Hudson. They tried, I think, at certain points in the second quarter or second half, they tried running more of a conventional drop-back offense after kind of not doing it on early downs because they were very much acting like they were afraid. They were afraid of their offensive line. And it's like, damn, well, let's not act like Daniel Jones is the quarterback here. Let's not be afraid of the offensive line, even though they did suck. They were still acting like they were afraid of it. And then when they tried to pull back on that, well, let's get some more drop back passing. Let's get some more play action passing in here. Damn, that's when James Hudson gets beat twice and gets his ass kicked early in the middle of that game. So that's the passing offense for now. Put a pin on that. Let's talk about their ability to run the ball. They are not good enough. And, unfortunately, I don't even think even leading into today, if you were to tell me that, they couldn't run the ball and their running backs have 15 carries for 30 yards, Would the offense be successful? No. Like this Giants offense, they're not good enough to be so unbalanced like that. 15 carries for 30 yards with their running backs today. Tyrone Tracy's longest run was 6 yards. This offense can't even do the simplest of things right. Russell Wilson couldn't get the ball to the sideline all that well today to Malik Neighbors. And even when he did, it looks so difficult. It looks so tough. Malik Neighbors has to go up and high point that ball. And Russell Wilson is getting nailed and clobbered on like Malik Neighbors is having to turn around and go up. It's just so damn difficult. Offense is so damn difficult for this team, and it's so frustrating. And it doesn't matter the head coach. It doesn't matter the GM. It doesn't matter the quarterback. And it's so damn exhausting having to root for this team when offense is so hard. The offense can't even do the simplest of things right, which makes me not want to put it on Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll. But I'm going to put a pin on that. And we're going to talk about Mike Kafka and Daboll, since I know a lot of fans are mad at Mike Kafka, and I think rightfully so, but also not rightfully so. I want to talk to you about DraftKings before we keep going, because if I keep going, I'm gonna get lost, and I got to remember to read a damn ad. Appreciate everybody watching. Like, comment, subscribe. This episode is sponsored by DraftKings. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and with every touchdown, it could bring you closer to a payout with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers, this one is just for you. Bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code JAMFootball. That's code JAMFootball to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet, plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, so let's talk about Mike Kafka offensive play calling and the game plan today. 3rd and 1 midfield. This is the thing that I have the biggest issue with. There was a 3rd and 1 that they had towards the middle in the second half of the game. There was a 3rd and 1 where they chose to go empty around midfield. And I get it, you can't run the ball. Like I get it. I get it, you can't run the ball. But you're going out of empty. I mean, what are you doing out of empty? You're throwing the ball. You're throwing the ball. And I think 2nd and short and 3rd and short, particularly those 2 downs in the NFL, are very offensive friendly, where I think kind of the playbook should be open. You can run the ball and you can try and get 36 inches, right? But you could also maybe be aggressive and you can throw the ball down the field. There should be a bit of an element of surprise on 2nd and short and 3rd and short. But when Mike Kafka goes out of empty on 3rd and 1 and he motions Tyrone Tracy out, and then the Commanders are showing cover 0, they bring cover 0, and then Russell Wilson does that sidearm incompletion, and there's pressure on Russ. He can't get rid of the ball quick enough, and the screen doesn't work. And the screen might have even been sniffed out to begin with, even if the ball is complete, which is crazy when they bring cover 0, that they still sniffed out that screen. When you run out of empty, it's very predictable what you're going to do. Okay, we're going to throw the ball. Instead of getting 36 damn inches, that is one of my pet peeves as a football fan, seeing offenses that need 36 damn inches. 36 damn inches. And they can't get it. And they can't get it. So that was Mike Kafka, one negative. I didn't like that 3rd and 1. To have 4, and then the red zone sequence, right? There's 4 plays at or inside Washington's 2-yard line, and you come up with 3 points. And the reason why there was 4 plays to begin with is because when they went for it on that 4th down, Washington gets a penalty. Washington gets a penalty that gives the Giants new life. Theo Johnson had a drop even when they were back towards the 10-yard line and the 11-yard line. It was like a 2nd and goal. Theo Johnson has a drop, which Theo Johnson kind of had a really tough game, really rough game from a drop standpoint. I thought that was the bigger drop more than the other one that he had on like a 3rd and 10 where Russell Wilson just like checked it down. He was going to be tackled anyway, even if he caught that ball. So Theo Johnson had a rough game, but 4 plays inside Washington's 2-yard line. and you can't get a damn touchdown. And you can't even trust your rushing offense to get 72 inches. You can't even trust them to get 36 inches or 72 inches, right? Cam Scatterbo is running and nailing Marcus Bowe on a run play in the head. He fucking speared him. He speared him. It's rough, man. It's rough. So it's part of me, again, part of me wants to maybe put it on Kafka, but also that's not my initial lean, because if you can't run the ball, if you can't even do some of the simpler little things right, then it's everyone's fault. If your offensive line is getting your ass kicked that much, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? You can't run the ball. And they haven't been able to run the ball since 2022. They haven't been able to run it since then. So that was disappointing. Just tremendously disappointing. And until they have some sort of semblance of the running game, they're not going to do anything as an offense. First and second down, if they cannot win there, and they're constantly in 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and long, it's every single drive. 3rd and long, 3rd and long, 3rd and long, 3rd and long. Again, Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day. They're going to do nothing as an offense. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter who the play caller is. Doesn't matter who's calling plays. If they can't have any semblance or an identity of a run game, and this is me, Mr. Analytics, Mr. Throw it on early downs, but just watching this team as the last couple years have gone on and seeing them not be able to do anything with the run game, nothing. Nothing will come from that. Nothing. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I want to talk more about the offense. Oh, also Russell Wilson can't throw the middle of the field either, which add that to the list of things that we knew. Oh yeah, we knew that this could go wrong. We knew that's a weakness of the team. Russell Wilson can't throw the middle of the field, even when there's guys that are open over the middle of the field as well. So there's that. Russ had, I like my CPOE, I like my accuracy stuff. Russell Wilson had like a -15 CPOE, and I could check it right now. Is that the worst of the weekend so far? Is that the worst? I can check it right now. Is that the worst of the weekend so far? Oh, yeah. Patrick Mahomes was second with -7.9, and Russell Wilson -15.2 CPOE, according to Next Gen, is the worst. Expected completion percentage of 63.2, 48% completion percentage. He had a time to throw of 2.48 seconds, intended air yards of 5.1. That's awful. Intended air yards of 5, and we're completing the ball 48% of the time. Average yards to the sticks -4.9. Is that the worst of the weekend? No. That is not the lowest of the week. I should say worst. That's not the lowest of the weekend. Joe Flacco, average yards to the sticks, he had around 5.1, and Russell Wilson was -4.9. So, again, doesn't matter who the quarterback is, doesn't matter who the GM, doesn't matter who the coach is, doesn't matter what the fuck is happening. We are running an offense that cannot push the ball down the field. We are running an offense that doesn't throw near the sticks. We are running an offense that is not efficient on early downs. We are running an offense that can't pass block. We are running an offense that can't kick ass as a run blocking unit and gets outmatched, out-physicaled every single week and every single week one. That's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. And I don't know if there's a solution. I don't know if Andrew Thomas is going to come in and be the reason why it's fixed. I don't even know if Andrew Thomas is going to be the same player when he comes back with that Liz Frank injury. Wish I could tell you that. Wish I could tell you that. All right, I'm going to talk to you about Nike really quick. Quick shout out to Nike because we have an awesome new partnership with them. So go check out the affiliate link in the description below to shop some amazing Nike gear. You can get some Giants stuff too. It's the link in our description. We've partnered with Nike. Pretty cool thing that we're doing this year. So check out the link, that link in our description. Let's talk about the defense. I continue to be impressed by the Commanders as a football team because they played a tremendously sloppy game today. And yet they still look decent. They're still able to put up 21 points. I mean, the Commanders last year were one of two teams that scored on over 50% of their drives. The Lions were the other team. So this Commanders team is good. And I think right away they set a pace. They set a pace that I don't know if the Giants defense was fully ready for it. And it even shocked me right away. It even kind of took me back by surprise. Like, oh, you know that Cliff Kingsbury likes to go no huddle, but it's like, damn, man, they're really moving. And I don't know if the Giants were ready for that pace. And Jaden Daniels is dangerous. Jaden Daniels is good. That throw where he's rolling out to his right early in the game and it's a 40-yard gain. Not a lot of quarterbacks that can do that. And I know Cordell Flott got beat on that very long out route. And, that receiver that was on a practice squad kind of put him on skates there. But Jaden Daniels is really damn good. He's good running the ball. He's a dangerous quarterback. And even when the Commanders have a very, very sloppy game, like I think if we're talking about what's talking Commanders talking about right now, I think they're talking about how they played a very, very sloppy game, especially offensively with penalties, key penalties. I mean, even defensively, they had some penalties that, like that red zone drive that, where the Giants kicked that first field goal and they had 4 plays inside the Commanders' 2-yard line. The reason why they were able to kick that field goal in the first place is that there was on a 4th down that where they were going for it, there was a penalty that kept that drive alive and it put the ball on the 1-yard line. And then they wound up not converting that. So early in the game, they targeted Cordell Flott a lot, which Flott made some plays throughout the game, but also he allowed some big plays as well. Then they targeted Darius Moasu after Micah McFadden goes down. Zach Ertz runs an angle route. So they targeted the weaknesses of the Giants defense, and it worked for them for the most part. I thought the pressure that the pass rush put up was good and decent. They're going to draw a lot of holding calls this year. They're going to draw a lot of holding penalties, and that's kind of like one of the main defensive takeaways from this game is like, all right, they're going to get the quarterback on the ground. They did a good job of getting Jaden Daniels on the ground at certain points, but here's where this defense was insanely frustrating. They just don't do themselves any favors. They don't do themselves any fucking favors. You get this Commanders offense into 2nd and 20 or 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15, 2nd and 20, 2nd and 15, and you just shoot yourself in the damn foot by allowing it's so I hate to repeat the same thing over and over again about how frustrating it is and how bad it is, but it's so bad. You don't do yourself that you get yourself into such a positive situation of Brian Burns gets a 1st down, 2nd down sack, and it turns into a 2nd or a 3rd and long situation. And then you find a way to give up a 15-yard play. You find a way to give up an explosive play. And then it turns it from a position of strength. It turns into what was a position of strength for you into a major point of weakness by it being even a 3rd and 7 after it being a 2nd and 15 or a 2nd and longer than that. It's killer, man. It's killer. It is absolutely killer. So that was the main thing of the defenses. I can't wait to look at I want to look at every single 2nd down. Forget 3rd down. I want to look at every single 2nd down that they had this game and what the hell happened. Because I honestly think that they did a decent job on 1st down. Decent job on 1st down. It was 2nd down and 3rd down that was killer. And I think even on 3rd down, they did fine. I think it was 2nd down that was really the killer down for them, that they weren't able to get a 3rd and 10 plus, or that 2nd and long turned into a 3rd and 7 or a 3rd and 6. It's the little shit. And also, speaking of offense just being easy for one organization and one division rival, than it being really hard and difficult for the other. I can't get over early in the game seeing the Commanders. All right, well, Bobby Okereke, we have a defensive lineman. Somebody is contacting a Commanders running back for a 2-yard game, but then they're falling forward for 2 or 3 yards additionally, and it turns into a 4 or 5-yard game. Consistently. And for us, on the other side of the ball, the broadcast pulled out the stat that the Giants offense averaged 1 yard before contact. Giants rushing offense, Giants running backs averaged 1 yard before contact. We're not falling forward for any extra yards. We're being hit at the line of scrimmage. We're falling down at the line. We're falling for tackles for loss. What do the Commanders have? 8? Do the Commanders have 8 tackles for loss? Offensively, final defensive stats, tackles for loss, 7. They had 8 hits on the quarterback. 6 pass deflection. 6 pass defense, by the way. Giants only have 3. 7 tackles for loss. 7. Giants had 3. And certainly the Commanders' tackles for loss felt a lot more impactful than the Giants did for sure. They couldn't stop anything over the middle of the field. Where are the linebackers? Javon Holland, I thought really had a disappointing opener. A couple times where Deebo Samuel caught the ball over the middle of the field. Javon Holland's covering him. Yeah, so much for Deebo Samuel being fat and slow. Certainly outran Drew Phillips a good amount from the slot. Third down conversion where he got Javon Holland good too. Over the middle of the field, where are the safeties? Where are the linebackers? Bobby Okereke is supposed to be a linebacker that's good in coverage. Didn't see that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Good takeaways from the defense. They got pressure. They're going to force a shit ton of holding calls. The bad thing of the defense is that they didn't take advantage of, I feel like, any of the good things that they set themselves up for, whether it be a sack, whether it be a penalty. And then the next play you would blink and the Commanders would erase whatever bad deficit just happened to them. And they shot themselves in the foot. They shot themselves in the damn foot. And it's so unfortunate that I understand they allowed 21 points. I'm seeing comments on YouTube right now, and I'm sure even if you're listening after the fact, you're like, well, the defense allowed 21 points. They allowed a shit ton of yards. They can't stop the run. I am with you. I agree with you. This Giants defense is so damn frustrating, and it's a lot of the same frustrations, despite so much different personnel. It's the same damn frustrations that we've had about a lot of defenses. This even goes back to Patrick Graham's defense at times, where you can't stop the run, and we're not tackling well. We're allowing yards after contact. Some of the same frustrations that we've had, regardless of who is in here, what personnel is in here, what coaches are in here, whatever, right? A lot of the same damn frustrations. But at the end of the day, they were in the middle of the fourth quarter, and it was 14-6. It was 14-6. Whether it's because the Commanders shot themselves in the foot. Oh, yeah, I can't forget the end of the half. The end of the half where Jaden Daniels throws the ball in the back of the end zone instead of spiking the ball and taking that field goal at the end of the half. Jaden Daniels throws the ball in the back of the end zone. It's intentional grounding, and then there's the 10-second runoff, and then it's halftime. So we even forget that too, where they costed themselves points there. It was 14-6 in the middle of the fourth quarter, and the Giants were driving down the field around midfield, and they had a 4th and 4. 4th and 4. And instead of going for it, they punt the ball. They do not pin the Commanders down deep. Winds up being a touchback. Commanders go down the field, drive down, and win the game. So yes, there are so many frustrating things with this defense. They shoot themselves in the foot consistently. But I can't sit here and be like, well, they're the main reason why we lost. The offense puts up 6 points, and it's the same back and forth argument that fans have with each other all the time. When you have an offense that doesn't score touchdowns, what the fuck does it matter? What are we even doing? What are we doing? Producer Jeff, I would like to know, just do a quick search of Malik Neighbors on Twitter from any of the reporters, and I would like to know if he said anything at the locker room. But before I do that, I am going to talk to you about SeatGeek as I read an ad, and Jeff is going to do that for me because I really want to know if Malik Neighbors did say anything at his locker, because, man, was he frustrated. And we'll talk about some other things, and then we'll put a bow on this damn recap. Today's episode is sponsored by SeatGeek. The playoff chase is on, and football season is here. And with SeatGeek, the MLB's official ticket marketplace, your tickets are fully guaranteed and instantly fulfilled in your account after purchase. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app in the world. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. Right now, you can get tickets to baseball games, NBA, and NHL, not to mention tons of concerts and other events. And each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So you know if you're getting a good deal. Just look for the green dots because green means good, red means bad. Thank you to SeatGeek. And you know we came through for you guys. You can use code GIANTS2025 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code GIANTS2025. Bang. Bang, 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 bang. Anything, Jeff? Anything on Malik Neighbors? Because that was the one thing where seeing him as the game winds down, seeing him with that towel on his head. Brian Dable kind of got his hands on Malik Neighbors in the early part of the game. Not good, man. Not good. And I don't even think it's like him. Like, right? Like me saying this isn't like, oh, Malik Neighbors is a diva. Malik Neighbors is one of the players on this football team that wants to fucking win. He's really damn good. And Malik Neighbors had a good game. Malik Neighbors got open. Malik Neighbors did his job. And this is killing him. This is killing him that they're so inept and they're so damn bad. Neighbors, Doug Analytics, thanks in the YouTube chat. Neighbors said he spoke up to Dable because the energy wasn't right. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm glad he did. I'm glad there's somebody that shows emotion. Because this was supposed to be a team, and it's week 1. Jackson Dart is eventually going to come in, right? Like if it's this bad against the Commanders, and if they come out next week against the Cowboys and it looks a hell of a lot better, then okay, awesome, cool. And then we'll forget all about it, right? But if it's looking this bad, right? They can't run the ball. They can't pass block. Russell Wilson couldn't throw the ball down the field. He was bad under pressure. Like if it's this bad, then this is the expectation, right? This was supposed to be a team that when they faced adversity, they talked about it in the beginning of the broadcast. The very beginning of the broadcast. They were the Fox broadcast. How is this team going to respond to adversity? They're going to get punched in the mouth. How are they going to respond? And ideally, this is a team that when they were punched in the face and based off of the guys that they brought in, and this includes Neighbors taking maybe a little bit more of a leadership role, Russell Wilson, Brian Burns, and Dexter Lawrence maturing even more, Javon Holland, Paul Sedita, but like all these guys that they brought in, the expectation, at least for me, and the hope for me, is that this was going to be a team that got punched in the mouth and they were going to punch back. Cam Scadaboo will also be a guy that literally punches back. Jeff slacked me some stuff. Brian Dable's Leak and I are two highly competitive people. We want to give him the ball. That's all it is. I don't think that's all that it is. I hope that it's all that it is. And Malik Neighbors said he spoke to Dable because the energy wasn't right, like Doug Analytics said. Okay. I'm glad to see that nothing explosive came out of the locker room. Because there were some quotes last year. There were some times last year that it was like, oh, that's a bad quote. Oh, that's a bad sign. That's a bad indication. So did he even talk to reporters? That's what I'm wondering too. So Abdul Carter. Yes, Chris in the YouTube chat brings up Abdul Carter. I'm excited to watch him. It's really tough to keep track of where he is on the football field. It's really hard to keep track of it, whether he's lining up as a stand-up pass rusher in the A gap, as kind of like this off-ball linebacker. It's tough to figure out if he's an edge rusher, so excited to kind of go back and compile all the positions at where he was lining up and where he was lining up. Dude looks fast, man. Dude looked fast. And more than him looking fast, he really flashed a shit ton of bend. He got close. The Commanders' first punt of the game, he got close to blocking it, and then the Commanders' that second punt, he actually did get a partial block. It's unfortunate that the ball got such a friendly Commanders roll. But Carter looked good. I don't know how he looked against the run, just on the top of my head. I don't know if anybody looked really good against the run, all that honestly, in all honesty. The Commanders finished the game 6.9 yards per carry. Nice. I think a lot of that did come towards the end of the game when they were kind of just gassed. So I think the 6.9 yards per carry is a little bit less when it wasn't the full-on straight-up garbage time, but still, they weren't able to stop the run at all at all consistently. 2-yard runs turned into 4 or 5-yard runs with yards after contact and things like that. But I thought Carter flashed. There was one time where he got held, or even I think he maybe even got a face mask pulled when he was stunting, or when he was rushing the passer from the inside, and there was a no call. So Carter looked athletic. I thought Carter looked pretty decent and pretty good in his opening day, in his opening game. It's a shame that game should have been a little bit closer. We should have a little bit more energy to talk about how good Abdul Carter may have been and the times that he did flash, but alas, he did not. Did he get credit for a half a sack is my question. Did he get credit for a half a sack with Kayvon Thibodeau? Did we see his first sack? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So we don't have Abdul Carter's full first sack yet of his NFL career, but Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau did combine for that half sack. Brian Burns had 2 sacks as well, and those were your 3 sacks for the New York Giants. So Brian Burns had a hell of a game too. Man, when he wins quick, he is so good at that. He's one of the best at the NFL at winning quick. The things of the defense that needs to get better are just their run defense and their ability to defend the middle of the field. Where are the safeties? Where are the linebackers? When we hit guys at 2 yards, it can't turn into 4 or 5 yards. Those are the main defensive notes. It's really deflating to see certain times where you glance out on the field, and when Dex isn't on the field, Elijah Garcia, Roy Robertson-Harris, and like Nacho are like the 3 interior defensive linemen that are on the field all at the same time. Like, that is not a position of strength for the Giants. That absolutely is not. There was one play towards the end of the game where I saw Roy Robertson-Harris with his hand to the ground as a defensive end. Man, that is deflating. Doesn't inspire any kind of confidence. So that's that. All right, I want to get some Q&A in the chat. Get some Q&A in the chat because I saw we got a super chat. Appreciate the super chat, Miles. When does Dart start? Is it worth throwing him in the fire and risking a DJ Fate or waiting? I mean, I don't think Jackson Dart should start week 2. I think you have dug your grave, and I said that as kind of like a good thing a couple weeks ago. I think you dug your grave with Russell Wilson. Stick to that process. And especially if Andrew Thomas is not going to be in the lineup, and I don't care if Andrew Thomas is going to play one game and then get hurt again. I am not putting Jackson Dart with that horrible offensive line if I don't have to. And that sucks for Russell Wilson. That sucks ass for Russell Wilson. I am not doing that. I am not. If they can't pass block against that horrible pass rush that Dallas has next week, we're in fucking trouble. We are in trouble. And, man, I do not want to talk about Joe Shane in week 1. I do not want to talk about Joe Shane in week 1. But just running it back with the same damn offensive personnel outside of quarterback, this is maybe what you get, especially on the offensive line. They're talking about on the broadcast how the Commanders, they have a heavy offensive line. Commanders won 12 games last year. You want to know what they did? You want to know what the Commanders did? They traded for one of the best left tackles in football. They drafted one of the best tackles at the back end of the first round. I'm not saying the Giants should have drafted a tackle with Abdul Carter. But what they took what was not even a position of weakness last year for them. Because I think Cliff Kingsbury did a very good job last year, and I think he continues to do a good job of scheming around an offensive line that isn't the best. And I think Jaden Daniels also does a very good job of operating around an offensive line that isn't the best. And also skill position players that aren't the best. I think Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels elevate everybody on that offense. Believe it or not. Cliff Kingsbury specifically with the run game, and Jaden Daniels specifically with the passing game. I do not think Cliff Kingsbury is an awesome innovator when it comes to throwing the football. But Jaden Daniels, with his ability to throw the football and run and improvise and do all the things that he does, makes the offense so much better. And they were talking about on the broadcast about how heavy the offensive line is, how big they are. And I think you're seeing a trend. The Eagles have the heaviest offensive line in the NFL. The Commanders now have added to that. And their offensive line did very well against the Giants, especially when it comes to running the football. Averaged 7 yards per carry on the ground. And they ran it back with the same old line. 2 years ago, I'm still mad at this. 2 years ago, they didn't draft this. They were the only team in the NFL that didn't draft an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. And this past offseason, the only thing that they really did on the offensive line was draft Marcus Bowe in the 5th round. That's it. It's the only thing they did on the offensive line. I understand what gave me a little hope and what gave me a little optimism is that the first 6 weeks of the year last year, they worked so well with each other, but that's with Andrew Thomas in the lineup. But we got to stop, I'm guilty of this too, man. We got to stop putting our fates on Andrew Thomas. We got to stop. Just got to stop because he's not available like we need him to be. And when he comes back, I hope he plays for 15, 14, 16 games. But you can't put your fate on Andrew Thomas. And then they go out, they gave James Hudson the same contract that they gave Jermaine Illuminor, and he sucked. And he sucked. They all did. They all did. They all sucked. They all sucked. They all sucked. That's the answer. Whether it's Mike Kafka, it's Russell Wilson, it's this, it's that. They all sucked. They all sucked. All of them. Besides Malik Neighbors. What's Darius Slayton doing, by the way? Like, I don't know, man. Like, everybody's getting thrown under the table. Everybody's getting thrown on the table. What else, man? It's tough. We're here again. Any other notes I have? Cam Scatterby had a fun little debut. Really good passblocking rep that he had out of the shotgun during Malik Neighbors has one of his first big catches of the year. I think it was Malik Neighbors' first catch of the season. And man, Cam Scatterby messes a motherfucker up on a pass blocking rep, which is really awesome to see. Like, I think that's his path to playing more. Cam Scatterby's path to playing more is don't fumble, be a good pass blocker. And if you could do those two things, I think his ability as a receiver is going to really elevate the offense. It could. And if the line could block for him a little bit more and average more than 1 yard before contact, that would be nice. More than 1 yard before contact. If they can average more than that, then maybe Cam Scatterby has a path to playing more. Pass blocking rep was a really good sign. And then the next play, he catches the ball as a receiver, breaks 2 tackles, and falls forward, and it's a solid gain on first down for the Giants. So Cam Scatterby, where we really only got those 2 plays, I want to compare it to this. Remember, there were times where I don't think Brandon Jacobs was actually a very good short yardage running back. Like, just watching as a Giants fan growing up, it's like, I know this guy's big and I know he's strong, but I didn't particularly view Brandon Jacobs as a awesome short yardage running back. And I hope that Cam Scatterby isn't going to be the same thing. I think I would almost rather have a guy that gets a little bit more momentum, that is able to cross the line of scrimmage faster, and that is quicker moving forward instead of a guy that is necessarily just straight up powerful. So that's can't. But when you're getting hit, when you're hitting Marcus Bowe in his fucking helmet inside the 2-yard line in the backfield, it's tough for anybody to run the ball, let alone Cam Scatterby. So that's Cam Scatterby's debut. Anything else I'm missing? It's tough, man. It's tough. Struggles inside the red zone continue. They're not very explosive. I think they had 3 plays of 20-plus yards. The most efficient play on early downs for them was Russell Wilson running the ball. That was their most efficient. That was their most efficient first and second down play, is when Russell Wilson would drop back and scramble. That's it. That's that. All right. That's a game 1 recap. We're living in a real Groundhog Day simulation. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm going to invite you to like the stream. I'm going to invite you to subscribe, whether you're listening on the podcast app, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube. Week 1 is supposed to be a football show, especially a team football show. It's supposed to be their biggest period of growth. Oh, there's one more thing we have to do as I describe this. There's one more thing we have to do. It's supposed to be a team show's biggest period of growth. And every single year, sometimes we break records on this show of episodes and downloads and things like that. And week 1 is it, because people are excited, but then the team just sucks the life out of this fan base every single year. And that sucks. So subscribe. We're going to have a fun season. We're going to make it as fun as possible. I'm going to call Dalton Philly. So Dalton Philly is a guy that I work with JM Football and at John Boy Media. Dalton Philly is a Colts fan and hated the fact that Daniel Jones was playing and starting for his team, but he may feel a little bit differently right now. Dalton Philly, you're live on Talking Giants right now.
I hated that I heard that introduction, but you are 1,000% right. Justin Pennick, I cannot believe Daniel Jones and Indianapolis Colts. Giants could use a quarterback like that. Sorry, low blow.
Wow. You put out a tweet about Aaron Rodgers with Pittsburgh and Justin Fields with the Jets and Daniel Jones with the Colts. Like a bunch of new quarterbacks in new places scoring points. How did Russell Wilson do?
I mean, I'm excited for next week because I can reply to the quoted tweet from Talking Giants. Who's going to score the first touchdown? I don't know.
That's great. I did. That did happen. I did do that.
Yeah.
That is my fault. I did put out a tweet this morning saying who's going to score the first touchdown for the Giants. And as soon as I put it out, I kind of realized, well, what if they don't? And ironically enough, I thought this was just going to be the year where that wouldn't happen. Daniel Jones today went 22 for 29, 272 yards, a 75% completion rate, 9.38 average per attempt, 1 touchdown, only took 1 sack, and 115.9 QB rating.
I test too. Like, we were on the phone during the Giants halftime, and I literally said to you on the phone during the Alec Pierce 36-yard reception, I said, holy shit, Daniel Jones has just made one of the greatest throws I've seen in a while. Like, obviously, AR has made those flashy plays, but Daniel Jones did it consistently throughout the game, which is something AR had struggled to do for Indianapolis over his first 2 years with the Colts. I also do want to make a petition after today. I'm not calling him Danny Dimes. Please refer to him as Indiana Jones. I think that perfectly fits. But he looked amazing between the offensive line, pass pro with him. He's very poised, had a lot of his passes go with anticipation and accuracy, not just, hitting his targets open. He was creating open targets. It was one of the most impressive games of quarterback I've seen since Andrew Luck, and that's not even hyperbolic.
Hyperbole? They scored on every single drive.
Yeah, first team, I believe, since ESPN research said it was like 1977, first time that's happened.
I've had a slogan as a fan the last couple of years. Do you know like when something we're good friends, you know me.
You're very good friends. I would agree with that.
When something goes wrong for the Giants, there's 3 words that I say. Do you know what I usually tweet out and say?
I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm a visual learner, not an audio learner, or auditory learner. Can you repeat that?
Of course, naturally is the phrase that I'm looking for.
I didn't even know the question. And that's on me.
Of course, naturally, man. Of course, naturally. Just when the Giants are going to get this damn thing turned around, just when they have a good summer, when they kick ass in the preseason, and even when Colts fans think that everything's going to go like you thought that this was going to go horribly for you.
And I do want to add to that, Justin, that there was a poll taken amongst NFL fans. It was a national poll, and I believe it was The Athletic. Someone, a big company put it out there, and of the 32 fan bases, they asked, like, how optimistic are you for the season? The Indianapolis Colts ranked dead last.
Oh, nice.
For their season. So, like, this was the most unanticipated season, in a long time for Indy, and that's given with their quarterback history. It's been a revolving door ever since 2019 or going into the 2019 season. So it's shocking, and I don't know. I think it's too early to say he's going to be the Sam Darnold of this year, meaning that he lands in a new spot. And
I think it's a little early for that.
I wouldn't say that yet because I do think we've talked about the Miami Dolphins this year. They are we believe they're going to be a little bit of a shit show this year.
Yes.
And I think both came into play, but it was an impressive feat to see how well Daniel Jones was week one. And the Colts hadn't won since 2013 in week one. So I was panicked. I was 14 years old the last time they won week one. I was a freshman in high school. It's been this long. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank you, Daniel Jones.
Oh, well, I'm really glad Daniel Jones could win week one for you.
Didn't he win? He won a week one game for you, no?
He's only won one week one game in his career. And it was 2022 in Tennessee when I was there.
Oh, good year. Oh, was that Fat Randy missed the kick?
That was Fat Randy missing the kick.
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
That was one of my favorite videos of all time.
All right, thank you, Dalton Philly.
Go Giants. I'm sorry. We bleed blue, both Colts and Giants. Love you talking Giants.
Goodbye. That was Dalton Philly, residential Colts fan. Of course, naturally, all this had to happen today. So I'll see you in the middle of the week. We'll do something else. We'll have a midweek episode, and we'll do this damn thing. The Giants have scored 12 points in week one the last 3 years. They've scored 6 points. The Giants have not scored an offensive touchdown in a week one game since 2022. Do they even score one in the first half of 2022? That's a good question. Let me know in the comments because I don't want to get even more depressed and angry than I am right now. This team is exhausting. I'll see you later in the week. Bye. Go Giants.